All right, my friends, we're going to go ahead and start setting ourselves up for our 30 minutes sleepy time yoga. So this class is for you to just relax and have a well-rested sleep. So we're going to take some postures that are going to facilitate that. If you're just joining, we will get started in a couple of minutes, but if you want to gather your props, so I'm using a scarf. I was literally laying in bed not too long ago and using this to stretch, and it felt really nice, so I figured why not incorporate it. And yeah, so pillows, blankets, the more the merrier. Get into something cozy, and we'll get started in a minute or two, okay? And again, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Desiree, and I'm excited to be here. Hey, John, welcome. Okay. Great, so we've got people joining us on Zoom. Fun. All right, it's about 9 o'clock. So we're going to get started. You meet us when you're ready. I'm not going anywhere. We're just going to be hanging out on our mats. So the first place we'll go is set yourself up like so, or you can just lay naturally on your back. I was just hanging out in this position before we got started. It just feels nice to be supported like this on the ground early on in the, well, late on in the day rather. So pillows underneath the thighs. I'm scooching up to my bigger pillow or blanket rolled up. I'm just going to prop the pillows under my head so that I'm in a nice, comfortable, long position. The feet are touching together. The eyes are closed here. We're just going to start tuning inward, finding our breath. Maybe adapting to the Ujjayi breath or the ocean breath. Taking deep inhales through the nose, filling up the lungs completely and fully. Keeping the lips sealed as you exhale out through the nose. Getting into that sensation of natural breath. And maybe you prefer to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. That can feel pretty releasing. Your practice, right? So you practice as you would, as your body needs, intuitively moving and breathing. As you come into this posture, allowing those thoughts, that monkey mind, to slow down, acknowledging the thoughts as they arise, but letting them go. You maybe come to an intention for this practice. Maybe it's some gratitude for showing up. Maybe it's connection. Maybe it's letting go. Maybe it's just linking together the breath with the movement. Or maybe it's linking the breath with the stillness. Slowly we'll begin to come off of our props if we were on them. And just come onto the earth, nice and flat, legs out long. Again, removing the props as needed, but keeping them close by. So maybe it actually might feel comfortable to leave the pillow under the head here as you lay on your back. And we're going to get our scarf or our towel or just something we can use as almost like a rope. And we're going to take our right leg up and a bend. We're going to flex the foot as we loop this blanket. It's a scarf. I'm using a scarf. You might have a belt or something of the sorts to replicate this, but I don't know. I had a scarf nearby and that's what I grabbed. So got my foot looped around the scarf and I'm grabbing it with my hands on either side. And now I'm going to extend my leg to as straight as you can. And if you've got tight hamstrings, keep a bend in the knee and keep a nice flex in that foot, almost like you're pushing against that scarf or belt or towel that's underneath the foot. And that'll create some tension to almost feel the opening of the back of the leg here. And you go to where it's comfortable. If you want to straighten the leg out more, you straighten it out more. And now I'm going to invite you to pull a little, bend at the elbows, pull a little bit more, into the body and find some yummy stretching here. Or maybe you don't move at all. Maybe you're just like, my leg's up and this is all you got, lady. So again, your practice, your body, your breath, you take it as it comes. And that breath is the key here, breathing in and breathing out, breathing in through the tension and releasing on the exhale. And again, play with going deeper, or maybe play with going, not so deep. Maybe you're one of those who's like always like hardcore 100%. Maybe now's the time to, give your body a break and ease off that pedal a little bit, Good. And we'll slowly begin to bend at the knee, but we're going to pivot the knee and the hip towards the right side. So we're just going to hold on with that flexed foot around the scarf or belt, and we're going to bend into that knee again. The knee should be not parallel to the mat, but pointing. So like my knee's pointing towards like the corner of my mat or my room. I'm kind of just going to play with pulling this in, getting a little bit of a hip opener here. And again, I'm pulling in with that scarf. I've got my hands on top of one another and I'm pulling that foot towards me, but I'm keeping a nice bend in the knee and a nice flex in the foot to protect that knee joint. And with that, I'm extending long through that left leg that's planted on the earth here, right? So keeping some awareness around the other parts of our bodies. We get into an uncomfortable or a tense posture in our body. It's smart, so it adjusts, but we have to make sure it adjusts appropriately so that we're not doing any harm, right? Do no harm to the body or anybody, right? Draw the shoulders away from your ears. Let the collarbones spread wide. Then we're just slowly going to hug the knee in towards our chest. Take that belt or whatever you've got off and just give it a nice squeeze. Extend through the left leg long and hug it up into the shoulder almost, or underneath the armpit, if you will, just so that it's not pressing directly on your chest. And again, keeping that flexed foot, extending nice and long through that left leg. Reaching with the crown of the head as well. Opposite directions we're moving in, right? Extending long through the left leg and reaching tall with the crown of the head. Nicely done. We'll slowly lower that leg back to the earth. Extend it nice and long. And then we're going to take it on the other side. Grab that scarf or whatever you've got. Keep that knee bent, loop it around the foot, and then you extend it as long as the body allows. You know, keep the bend in the knee. Don't force it here, you guys. This is restorative. We're here to just ease our bodies into some gentle movements to get us ready to go to sleep. No crazy postures right now. I mean, if you want to, by all means, but I won't be joining you. I'm sorry. So again, we'll play with the legs here, opening up the back of the leg and that hamstring and the calf. Keeping that left foot flexed, extending long with that right leg that's on the earth. It's strong. It's not just sitting there, you know. Gotta have it do the work as well. Shoulders are dropped away from the ears. And maybe you start to pull the leg in. Maybe you don't. Either way is fine, right? As long as you're breathing, you don't have to do anything, right? This is all a choice. You don't have to do any of this. You can literally just sit there, close your eyes and breathe, not move a muscle. Right. Slowly we'll start to think about bending the knee, pointing it so that it's about angled towards the top of the left mat, opening up through the hip, taking a nice hip opener here. So the knee extends out towards the side, that left knee, right leg is still strong and straight. And you're just going to play with pulling that flexed foot in a little bit towards the belly button. And again, you go as far away and as close to as you need. Building an awareness around the breath and how that allows you to either access the posture or not, right? The deeper you breathe, the deeper into the posture you can handle. We'll slowly start to release that posture and just keeping the knee bent and hugging it in towards the chest, but outside of the chest and up almost into the armpit. Still keeping that right leg extended long, reaching towards the wall or whatever's in front of you, and the head extending long as well, finding that length, finding that strength. Then we'll slowly bring that foot down to the earth. And then we'll bend the right knee to meet the left knee, planting both feet on the earth here. And just take a moment to feel how the legs are after those two postures. And then we'll begin to think about moving on and letting go of those postures and opening up to something else. We'll start to walk the feet out towards the sides and let the knees knock into one another. Nice little decompression here. And then we'll think about turning onto our stomachs. Extending long and just rolling over onto the belly. Moving the props out of the way, if you have it in the way. And we're just going to extend everything long. Arms can come down by the sides, where head can rest on the earth. And we're going to bend at the knees here. Then we're going to lift the head, reaching it forward and then up. And those feet, they're nice and flexed, which will activate the hamstrings here. We want to think about lifting the knees off the earth. And that's happening because we're kicking the ceiling with our feet, right? Then we're going to slowly start to lift the arms, the shoulders, and really shining the chest forward here by way of lifting through the crown of the head, reaching forward and upward as you reach forward and upward with the feet, the legs. Removing any tension from the low back by activating those core muscles, sending those deep breaths into that low belly, and trying to put the weight in the hips. On an exhale, we'll release back down to the earth. We'll reach the arms by our sides. We'll press our way back into child's pose. Knees are out nice and wide, toes come together. Maybe you get a pillow underneath the head as you sink the hips down and back towards the heels for your child's pose. Arms will reach out nice and long in front of you. Good inhales and good exhales. Maybe massaging the head, rocking it side to side. And then we'll start to think about reaching the right hand and the left hand, walking it all the way over to the right side of our mats. Anchoring down with that left hip, placing the head on the earth or a pillow. Feeling a nice side body stretch in the left side. Maybe you plant the left hand on top of the right hand for a little bit more depth. And the deeper you sink into that left hip, the more you anchor down and keep those hips even and low, the deeper the stretch. And with that, the deeper the breath, the deeper the stretch, and vice versa. And start to think about walking it back through center, then all the way over towards the left side. Maybe you've got some props in the way, you just work with it. Good inhales and deep exhales out through the nose. Walk your way back through center. Come on to tented fingers. Active straight arms as you reach with the crown of your head. You sink with the hips and you find a little bit of length, and that's fine. And you'll start to walk all the way back. And then we'll come to sitting on our bottoms. Swinging the leg around. And I will face you guys for this. So knees are tucked in towards our chest. And we're just going to give our legs a big squeeze, a nice hug, and let the head rest on the knees here. About 2 to 3 inhales, just tucked away in this little ball. Lift the head, lift the gaze. I'm going to keep one leg bent. So I'm going to tuck my right leg in and drop it out towards the side. And really just hug this foot in towards the pelvis. I'm going to extend my left leg nice and long. Just going to take a moment. Maybe I'll tuck this foot in towards the leg a little bit more. I'm going to sit nice and tall, rooting down through the sits bones and reaching up to the crown of the head. And this might just be enough for the hamstrings and the groin area right now. So you'll stay here. If you'd like to join, we're going to move forward by extending and reaching that right arm up and over towards the left foot. And reaching nice and far out with those right fingertips, flexing with that left foot. And maybe the arm gets to touch the toes, maybe it stays at a nice hover. And the left arm can come over towards the left foot, or if you want a little bit deeper, you can drop that left hand onto the earth next to the right bent knee. And extend a little bit further into this posture by opening up and breathing deeply through that right side body. Maybe you tilt the gaze towards the right armpit, or maybe you just close the eyes. And then we'll slowly start to think about reaching our way back up. On an exhale, sitting nice and tall. And we'll take it on the other side. So left foot will come tucked in towards the pelvis. Right leg will extend long and straight. If you need a micro bend in the knee, you need a micro bend in the knee, but we'll keep that right foot flexed. We'll reach the left arm up and over our heads as we go towards that right foot with the left hand. And you try to keep a long spine here, so really rooting down through the sits bones, those two bony prominence at the bottom of your bottom. And reaching as far as the body will allow. And breathing deeply. Opening up that left side body. Tilting or closing the eyes here. And then again, rooting down through the waist and the sits bones. We'll slowly begin to reach that left hand back up towards the sky and come all the way back to center. And then we'll bring both legs together here in a butterfly variation. So you can either have the legs out pretty long or pretty close. It's dependent upon your hips and your groin area. So you take it as you need. Maybe you prop up some pillows if the hips are feeling a little irritated here. Then we'll just breathe in and out through the nose. Maybe the palms come to the heart center, or one hand over the heart, one hand over the low belly. Maybe they just rest naturally on the knees. Maybe you close the eyes. Maybe you come back to your intention. We'll slowly start to bow our way over our legs here. You can move the arms forward and reach them as far forward as they can go. So sinking those hips down, anchoring them into the earth, and reaching nice and long through the spine. Getting tall with every inhale and with every exhale. Maybe the head comes to rest on the feet, or perhaps you stack your fists over each other and let your head rest on them. Again, sinking down through the hips and the sits bones and reaching nice and long with the spine through the crown of the head. Slowly begin to find your way back onto your back. And we'll settle in for a few more postures and then our final resting pose, our Shavasana. So once more, we will come onto our backs. Knees can be bent here. We're going to take our figure four, recline figure four on our backs. So we're going to bend that right knee, tucking it towards the chest. And almost like we did with the scarf earlier, we're going to angle that right knee towards the right side of your mat so that it's almost pointing towards your armpit. And the foot is still flexed here, nice and active in the leg of the right foot. And then we'll take our right ankle across the left thigh. And I use my hand just to get it there. You can use your hand to get it there as well. So now my ankle is pressing into that left thigh bone, and the left thigh bone is pressing into that ankle. And I come onto the left toes, and this might be just enough for that right hip. But we're gonna open it up a little bit more if you've got a little bit more to open up. So maybe you come all the way off the toes and you flex that left foot and you draw that left knee with the right ankle on top of it, well, on top of the thigh, not the knee, and you draw it towards your chest. And then maybe you've noticed there's a nice hole that your arm can go through between the legs, and you interlace the right hand and the left fingers together behind that left hamstring. And you pull that leg in towards the chest as much as you can, as much as the body is willing to go, as deep as your breath is willing to go. Keeping that flexed foot nice and engaged and active. And then we'll release the arms here. And we're going to take a nice gentle spinal twist. So we're going to drop this right foot onto the mat. So the legs stay the same. The arms come out to the sides and the right, you tilt the gaze over the right shoulder or the right hand. Can you breathe deeply into that right hip and the right twist to the side body? We'll slowly start to think about resting one leg on top of the other and coming onto the other side. And it's about almost 9:30, about a minute away from the end of class. So you take your time through this left side, and then we'll all meet in our Shavasana. So take about 5 to 10 breaths moving through this figure 4. So left foot is flexed, the knee is bent in both legs as the right knee, as the left ankle comes across the right thigh. Got my words turned around there for a moment. Then again, you maybe find the arms interlaced behind that right leg, adding some tension and pulling that right thigh towards the chest. And trying to keep that low back as anchored to the earth as possible, really taking the stretch in the hips here. Nice deep cleansing breaths as you begin to drop that right, the right leg, yes, will drop over to the right side, but most importantly, keeping the legs as you drop that left foot towards the right side of the room. And the arms extend long out towards the sides. Gazing over that left shoulder, breathing deeply into those hips. Slowly lowering the knees towards one another and then extending everything nice and long. Coming into our final resting posture, our Shavasana. Maybe you bring some pillows or blankets to underneath the knees for a little extra cushion, and then pillow under the head, maybe some pillows under the arms here. Maybe you crawl into bed and you just close your eyes, flip the palms, face the ceiling, let the head hang heavy and the legs. Take a deep breath in through the nose and a deep breath out through the mouth. We'll close our eyes for Shavasana. Slowly begin to remain as you are. Maybe just turn me off and go right to sleep. Maybe we'll begin to wiggle the toes and the fingers. And we'll slowly begin to find our way into a comfortable seated posture. Again, maybe you stay as you are. We'll close the practice together with the hands at our heart center. Bringing the thumb knuckles to the third eye center as we bring about some gratitude for showing up tonight. bowing to each other as we say namaste. Well, namaste, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that 30-minute practice. I'm about ready for bed. I hope you are too. So thank you for showing up tonight. And if you loved the class, if you have any questions, please reach out. Please let me know what you thought, or if you have any recommendations or themes you'd like to see or postures you'd like to try. Yeah, reach out. My name is Desiree, and you can find me on this yoga meetup group, Yoga Today with Desiree, and on the Facebook. And yeah, if you want to always send a love offering, they are graciously welcomed. And yeah, thank you. I'm like, oh, I'm ready for bed. So good night. If you have any questions, please reach out. Thanks, John. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Good night.